The God Emperor has awoken. His ire is now upon Facebook for censoring people. He tweeted out, "I'm continuing to monitor the censorship of American citizens on social media platforms. This is the United States of America, and we have what's known as freedom of speech. We are monitoring and watching closely." And the comments are generally very, very favourable with people until you get to the Krasensteins who, of course, in fact, like Bowden here says, can't you guys just text each other? Because it really does sound like they're just having a text conversation to one another. And it's truly amazing how they have literally nothing else to do. I mean, they are just paid to do that, I'm sure. But this is a real concern, isn't it? And it's not just Americans it's a real concern for. I mean, the one that really bothers me is Paul Joseph Watson, because it doesn't matter whether you like his politics or not. He does not call for violence. He consistently opposes it. Consistently. And he knows that he has to. For him to continue existing on these platforms, he's not stupid. He knows he can't say anything stupid or spicy or edgy or something like that. And he doesn't try to. He keeps what his content is on Facebook and Twitter all fairly politically neutral. He does occasionally have discussions with journalists, but generally he doesn't tend to get into the weeds of it. And I've never seen him do that on Facebook. So why he was removed from Facebook is the real question. And it's because, I think, he was successful. He got loads and loads of likes and shares and comments on every single post he made. He got a huge reach. He had something like 760,000 followers. That's massive. It's one of those things where it's just like, look, this can't really be justified in his case. And so it really does seem to be political censorship. If it, like with all the rest, Gavin McGuinness and all that, I mean, he did literally say, I'm not joking. I'm going to find you. I'm going to kill you. And it's, oh, fuck's sake, man. I know you're joking that when you say I'm not joking, but that gives them license to do it. That's them saying, well, you did say that. And you literally said I wasn't joking. And, that's a meta joke. Then starts getting a bit more complicated than they're willing to bear, frankly. And, so, when it comes to like threats, okay, maybe, I think they're taking it too far as always, but for Christ's sake, I mean, they are literally trying to create an internet where people can't make jokes. And this is actually where this goes. This is where this road goes. And it really is why comedians have to start actually saying something, because this is not just like, it's not necessarily whether it's legal or not. That's the thing. It's about whether we want this to be the culture by which we operate. Do we let the inevitable BuzzFeed smear pieces or whatever it is, do we let that dominate our lives? And apparently, for some reason, the political class insists on doing so. It's like, it genuinely is something that cannot go on forever, because the more you censor, the more extreme people get. I mean, if you think that like Tommy Robinson's an extremist or I'm an extremist, it's like, well, I don't agree, but it's not like these people are made overnight, I mean, they are genuinely not calling for hatred. I know that's hard to believe, but they are honestly not calling for hatred. They are people who want to be listened to, and you're just not listening. You're doing everything in your power to avoid listening to them, because you know that a lot of these people are making real points about real things that are really true, and maybe they don't have the sort of Etonian education that allows them to elucidate these points as finely as you might want before you're prepared to engage with them charitably. But that's not their fault, is it? If you guys want to talk about class inequalities all the time, well, let's talk about the class inequalities. And why are you holding these people to the same standards to which you would hold other people? To which you would hold like professional journalists. And why are the professional journalists so bad at their jobs? Or should I say deliberately deceitful? Because that's what it is. We know that you're not bad at your jobs. We know you're just fucking liars. And you are trying to protect a particular ethical order that is creating people like everyone all of these extremist groups that appear to be popping up left, right, and centre. Like, I had no idea who those Extinction Rebellion people were. I'd never heard of them before until I literally had to walk through them in London. So what the fuck is this? Who are these people? If I'm a free speech extremist, if Tommy is like, I don't know, an anti-Islamist extremist or something, then why? Why do all of these groups start existing? We've got to start actually engaging with what people are saying. I think that censorship is bad and creates actual terrorists, because when you actually take away someone's voice, they feel what other options they have. You make them get to the point where they think, well, there's simply no other way of being heard, because that's what the copycat killers that are currently happening with the Christchurch guy massacre lunatic is happening. Like that, these are copycats because they know it gets your attention, and if they attach any old fucking manifesto to it, then they know they'll be heard, at least in some way, by some people. Do you want that to be the case? Can't we just air their grievances and actually see if we can work through them before it gets to terrorism? I mean, I know that's such a wild proposition these days, but I just really think that maybe, just maybe, it would be wiser than trying to forcibly repress them, strip them of their human rights, and make them go into like lunatic terrorist mode. I'd rather just, whatever they have to say, it can't be that bad. And if it is, we'll just be like, look, man, we're just not going to do that. But we heard you out, That's the very least you can say, is that we heard you out. But we're certainly not going to do X if it is really terrible. Like, you'd think that we could have that kind of dialogue, like adults. Like, we weren't afraid of hearing new ideas or being challenged in some way. But I guess that when you've created a very fragile moral order like the one we've got, all you can do is defend it with censorship, because otherwise it's going to fall apart on its own, isn't it?